Hello, my fellow comic book collectors. It's Alan, the Comic Collector Geek, and this is the Wednesday video where I answer your questions. I get a lot of stuff to show. A lot of stuff. You should see my comic room. It's a total disaster because I was digging out stuff to try to do this video. So yeah, it's sheer madness around me. So I'm going to show you a bunch of stuff, and it should be a pretty fun video. So let's get right into it. The first question comes from Marshall, and he wrote, do you have any Golden Age Green Lantern comics in the original series or the Green Lantern or All American comics? Also, can you show your favorite Silver Age Green Lantern comics? Okay, so I'm going to show you a ton of Green Lantern. I hope you enjoy this. I basically went through a whole bunch of boxes to try to find all these. We got this first one is a Green Lantern number, I forget what number it is actually, number 30, number 30, and this is the first appearance of Streak, the Wonder Dog, right there, Streak. And Streak, the Wonder Dog, is the Green Lantern's pet, super pet. So each of the DC superheroes has their own pet, and Streak is the Green Lantern's one. One of the lesser known super pets, I have to say, but he does have a super pet. So this is Green Lantern number 30. And that over there. And here's one of my bigger Green Lanterns. This is All American, and this is number 61. And it's the first appearance of Solomon Grundy. And it's one of my favorite, actually this is one of my favorite Green Lantern covers. I just think it's a cool cover. I know it's not a Green Lantern cover per se, it's more of a Solomon Grundy cover, but I just love the horror elements to it. So I think it's a really great cover. And it's a cool story, and I like first appearances. So a whole bunch of things going on for this book. Really love this book. It's a great one. So All American Comics number 61. One sec here. Got some other things that are on top by accident. Okay, and then we got some more All Americans. Another All American. This is the first appearance of Harlequin, and I think it's cool because you got Green Lantern there and Green Lantern there, and I like the fact that Harlequin is on the cover. It's just really cool. She's kind of like a precursor to Harley Quinn, but it's Harlequin. Just a cool book. Low grade, but hey, I'm happy to have it in my collection. I'll show you the back. They always have the Daisy rifles on the back. So yeah, this is from 1947. And it's covered by Irv Hassan. Okay, the next one is another All-American. I'll take it out of the wrap. This one's a little rough. It's got I think it was some water damage on it, but the lower cover is really nice. So like if I did this, you'd be like, oh, that's a really high grade. This is actually the first appearance of the Sportsman, and it's like All American Comics number 885. First appearance of the Sportsmaster, I should say. Crusher Crack, and it's another Irv Hassan cover. So this is kind of a cool one. And Dobby Dinkles is the sidekick for the Green Lantern. Okay. And then we have another really cool, this is just Harlequin cover. I just really like Harlequin. I think she's kind of an interesting looking character. And this is Green Lantern number, All American Comics number 95. Just another really cool Harlequin cover. I like when they're really big and then all the bad guys are really tiny. I think that's cool. Yes, this is a Carmen Infantino cover actually. It's kind of fun. More Daisy rifles on the back. And then we have one more Golden Age one, and that's from the original series. This is the Green Lantern number 12. and it's the first appearance of the Gambler. Another, I love it when they appear on the cover, first appearance on the cover, on a wanted poster. If you're going to be a bad guy, you got to make your first appearance on a wanted poster, so that's cool. And these shadows here too, so it's really cool. So yeah, so another great Green Lantern book. So those are my Golden Age ones. And then I have two from the Silver Age. I actually have a lot of Silver Age ones, but they're all raw, so I just didn't feel like grabbing them out. So sorry for that. But I'll show you at least one cool Green Lantern book. And this is Green Lantern #1 from 1960. And it's, who did the cover? Gil Kane. I should have known that. That's pretty obvious. Gil Kane cover. Just a really cool book. I always thought this one was a little weird with the clown thing, but it is definitely a cool book because it's the, the start of his own Silver Age title. So yeah, and you can win prizes on the back. Win a signet ring. Wow. So some fun stuff. Okay, so that's, and then that was the beginning of the Silver Age. Well, Silver Age Green Lantern. Now we have the end of the Silver Age Green Lantern. And this is Green Lantern Green Arrow, but really it's Green Lantern #76. This is Neil Adams cover, I believe. Just a cool one. It's this is actually where they actually both are on the cover. Before that, it was just Green Lantern. So this is kind of Bronze Age, beginning of the Bronze Age. Kind of a major book. But yeah, I just figured I'd show that one too. Okay, so those are my Green Lantern ones. I hope you enjoyed. Next question comes from Archivist Adrift. Can you take us on a tour of some of your European comics and comic magazines that you've acquired over the years? So basically, I have a box, and I grabbed most of it. I didn't grab all of it because it's a lot. And then I have another 4 other boxes. They're all European Warren Publishing. But I grabbed the ones that I thought were kind of cool. Some of these are European, some of them are not European. So, sorry, but they're foreign editions. I believe some of these are Argentinian. So, I think a lot of them are Argentinian. So, forgive me on that one. But they are foreign editions. So, Europe is foreign. It's all the same. I don't know. Anyone from Europe is going to be like, oh. So, yeah, but these ones are cool. So we got, but there are some European ones in here too, so don't worry. But yeah, so this is Vampirella, #15. Actually, I realized I had 2 copies of that. I found I have a dupes of several of these. #16. I think this is interesting because these are unique covers to these editions. We get #17, and it's kind of interesting. She has a purple costume, which is kind of interesting. And she's like sitting on a coffin, drinking some blood probably. And I just like the art style. I think it's kind of fun. #18. #20. I have 19 somewhere. I don't know where I put it. I know I have the complete run. So 22. I like that one a lot. That's a cool cover. And then we have #22. 23. They drew Vampirella very differently, which is interesting. It's a cool Dracula cover. And you got I think that's Dr. Jekyll or Mr. Hyde. Mr. Hyde, I mean. Yeah. So, yeah. And then we have more Vampirella, #25. It's a really pretty cover. And most of these are actually in really reasonable condition. They're quite nice. I think this is another Argentinian one. This is #7. This one's a, Ken Kelly cover. Number 8. Number 9. Number 10. So those are the ones, and we've got more, actually, strangely. Number 11. I don't know. They're very different covers than some of the American ones. So some are redone, some aren't. So those one, I'll just show the last of the Vampirellas. This is number, what number is this? It has a poster inside too. Number 3. Then we have number 12. It's a classic Fazetta cover. And then we have, now this is I believe this is Spanish. From Spain, actually. Creepy. So some European ones here. And yeah, these are Spain. The two-tone or two-ton editions are all Spanish. So this is creepy. Number 58 from 1984. And then these ones I believe are like Swedish and Finnish. Like they'd be kind of going through both. So these are Swedish, but they were also sold in Finland. This is chalk. And this is another chalk. And one more chalk. So these are all Swedish ones. And wait, I got some more. There's still a lot more. I only grabbed like maybe a third of the box or a fourth of the box. So there's just that one box, and I have like 5 or 6 more boxes. Like I actually have a bunch of boxes. Like thinking about it. This is number 6. Another chalk. I have a pretty good chalk collection. And then this one I believe is French Vampirella. And the French Vampirellas actually are pretty cool. They have the same as the American covers, but the cover stock is thicker. So they're really nice, actually. They're very thick. Very nice cover stock. And they're actually quite thick if you look at them. They're twice as thick of a regular magazine. This is the same as Vampirella number 2 American, but it's Vampirella number 2. Actually, it's the same, but this is the French version. Now, this probably came out later than the American version, but yeah, it's American version, French version. We got number 3, another Fazetta cover. And you can see all the French at the top. Demonic, Ariel, and Fantastique. Yeah, I'm not going to torture you with my bad French. Okay, so go next one, number 4 or 5. That was number 3. That's number 5. I don't have a complete collection of the French ones. I just have some random issues. This one, but kind of took this one out of the bag so you can see that it's really thick. It's like very thick cover stock. You can see all the other issues in the back. But yeah, they're really nice. And these Warrens would be black and white in the interiors, but the French ones would have photos, which is different than the American editions. So there was a little bit more content inside, and they just have all these photos as well. So kind of interesting that way. Yeah. So the French ones are quite nice. Okay, so those are some of my Warren. Hope you enjoyed. A little bit of European stuff. Kind of 50-50, but yeah, hopefully you enjoyed that. Okay, so next question comes from Joseph Barbara. And my question to you would be would you consider trading many books to get one great grail? You mentioned like Stephen did recently. So Stephen, he got his Detective 31, which was a huge book, and he traded a lot for it. He actually, I think it was a short box of stuff that he ended up trading. And fortunately, a lot of that stuff that he traded, either I bought or some of the other people in the community bought to kind of basically pay his bill. But we, I think he gave up a lot to get that big book. Now, if I was going to go for a grail, I was thinking, what grail would it be? Like a Bat 1, maybe? Or Action 1 would take most of my collection to get. What else would be there? There's a few big ones, like a Flash 1 would be nice too. Or All American 16 would be nice. So those would be the ones I'd be kind of going after. So thinking about the prices of those. Now, the kind of person I am, I buy them restored. So probably we're looking at anywhere from $50,000 to $100,000 because they're a grail book. They're just massive books. So now I couldn't pay for that because I don't have that much money handy, unless anyone wants to donate. That's just joking. But I just don't have that much money. So would I be willing to trade? I would have to trade a lot of really cool stuff. I would have like the books that I'd probably be more comfortable trading would be in that $1,000 range. So I'd have to give up probably about 50 to 60 really awesome $1,000 books, which I do have, but then I wouldn't have those cool books. So, or I would have to give up some major books, like just like other big books that I kind of liked having in my collection. Like when Stephen traded, he traded his Phantom Lady 17. I would never give that book up. I really love that book, even though his mine's restored. He didn't like the fact that his was restored because he didn't know that it was restored. So, but I bought mine knowing it was restored, so I'm not as willing to give it up. So ultimately, thinking about all these things, I'd say, okay, no, I'd probably not be willing to trade. That might change. I might, if I could get rid of my dollar bin books, like, the ones that are like, I have like maybe I would say 6 or 7 long boxes worth of books that are like in that $5 to $10 range. If there was some way, like that's, if you do the math, that's really not even that much money. but maybe there's actually some mixture in there that are $20. But yeah, that'd still not be enough to buy a grail. Getting rid of all that kind of fluff that's in my collection might be okay, but getting rid of some of my other big books would be really sad. But I don't think anyone would trade me for a whole bunch of fluff that's from my collection. So yeah, I don't think I would trade. So yeah, sorry. I'm really weird. I don't really like giving up books. I do like them all. Yeah, I'm weird that way. Okay, so next question comes from K Munin. Do you feel there are any superheroes from any comic that can be brought back and have success in the modern age? In my opinion, Wolfgal would be an interesting character to bring back considering the popularity of the horror genre. So Wolfgal she is horror, technically. And if they brought her back, they would make her a horror character. But really, in the Golden Age, Wolfgal was a character that was comedic. She would be the girl that would, in Little Abner, she would be the one that would lure men back to her cave to eat. that was the joke, and she would always, sort of hang out with the fatter guys because she wanted some good eating. So it was a bit of a joke. They never showed, like that kind of gore or craziness, but it was more hinted at instead of overt. But if they brought her back into the modern era, they'd probably ruin the character because she'd lose that kind of comedic thing. I just don't see that as a good character. So that's my thought going into this, that what character could we bring into the modern era without ruining them because it's the modern era? And that's a challenge. I mean, even the characters that have sort of been brought all along have been kind of ruined by some of the modern writing and the way that they treat the characters. So I don't have the highest confidence of the modern writing. I mean, there are some good writers, don't get me wrong, but a lot of the way that they treat the characters is not necessarily the best. But let me think of a character that could be brought. Now, I'm a big fan of, I kind of want them to do this. I want them to bring some characters from the Golden Age and allow them to be sexy and fun. You know, a lot of the movies nowadays, they don't really let women be women. It really drives me nuts. But if they were able to do that, where, you know, somebody was writing it and they read it based on loving the character, I think it could be really cool to see like a Blonde Phantom or Lady Luck, or even somebody like Black Canary that's right above me there. I'd like to see done in a modern take. I think that's a character that's, you know, been along with us the whole ride. But Miss Fury would be an interesting one. You know, some of these characters are really written for their time period, so it's really hard to take them out of that time period. Miss Fury is one of those, I feel. Though I have read some modern takes of her, but they always have it where she travels back in time and still goes into the past. So I'm just trying to think of some other good ones. I'd like to see Sally the Sleuth. And I'd like to see Sally the Sleuth done really campy. I just wish, you know, like get some like, you know, there are some directors that make sort of campy stuff. And I'd really like to see Sally the Sleuth. Now, Sally the Sleuth, if you're not familiar with the character, is actually a character that in the Golden Age was actually very tame, but she was more of a Platinum Age character. And in the Platinum Age, she was in the pulps, the spicy stories kind of books. And basically what she would do is she would, you know, for some reason, and because it's spicy stories, she would go from, you know, sleuthing out some, you know, little bit of detective work where she would solve some crime. But in the process of solving the crime, she gets captured by the criminals. And she would always have her clothes fall off. That was the thing. Her clothes would just always fall off. So, you know, it was kind of a fun, campy kind of story. I'd love to see like a modern take on that with some of that silliness, that they would just allow it to be silly. You know, I think if, you know, there are sort of these alternative directors that would probably be willing to make something like that. So yeah, that would be fun. More just to see what they could do with it. But and I think it would be successful. That's the funny thing. Like I think if they actually treated women characters as women, I think it would be really successful, because I think there is a demand there that's been built up from just being annoyed with the way characters are treated. I think there would be, you know, it could be successful if they just did it. But that would be, you know, going against Hollywood's nature right now. So I don't know. Yeah, hopefully. I don't know. I'm just sort of babbling here. Sorry about that. I like what I buy wrote. Can you show some of your favorite Haunt of Fear covers? Well, I'm going to do slightly better than that. I'm going to show you my entire Haunt of Fear collection. I don't really have that many, but I'll show you my entire collection. So there's this one, which is, I think it's Bernard Bailey, but he's goes by the signature Ghastly there. But this is a classic one with basically the zombie cover. And it's like, this is a classic cover. And this is Haunt of Fear number 17. Just a classic book. This one is like almost a remainder copy, but not quite. This is Haunt of Fear number 13 or 15. 13. Yeah, kind of a interesting one. I got this really cheap, so I was like, why not? It was like really cheap. I just thought it was really cool. I think I got this and a bunch of others. It was like under $100. So I was like, sure, why not? I thought these were cool. So yeah, this one's like kind of reminds me of that Russian like stagecoach, and they're fighting against the wolves and stuff. I don't know. And then this one's cool. This was part of that same little collection. It's like, I almost just take this tape off because they were all taped together originally. And this is another Haunt of Fear. This is Haunt of Fear number 6. Got the casket opening up, which is cool. And then we got another casket opening up, another Haunt of Fear where the guy's coming out saying hello. This is Haunt of Fear number 15. And the funny thing is, actually, I actually have another Haunt of Fear coming in the mail. And it looks like the same girl. Like the same picture, actually, strangely. I don't know. They recycled that girl because it's the same expression and everything. It's interesting. And then we got one more. And this is my favorite of the Haunt of Fears. And this is Haunt of Fear number, I want to say 19. Yeah, 19. And, you know, it's a double decapitation cover. So basically the guy has got a double axe so they can chop both their heads at once. I mean, that's efficiency. That's so cool. This one actually is mentioned in The Seduction of the Innocent, and that's why I like it so much. It's mentioned in The Seduction of the Innocent, not because of the cover, but because the interior story is the one where they are playing baseball and they have all the different body parts. Like they actually have like the catcher has like a chest plate that's made out of somebody's chest. The ball that they're throwing is somebody's head. The bat is like an arm. You know, it's like a gruesome baseball game basically. So yeah. So it's a really cool book. I really like it. I like the cover and I like the interior stories. So yeah, used in Sodi, Beheading Panel from 1953, and it's Graham Ingalls cover. So that's pretty cool. And that's my Haunt of Fear collection. Sorry it's very limited, but that's all I have. I think Haunt of Fear ran 26 issues. I have about 7. So, yeah. Okay, next one. Matt Likes Comics wrote, what was the biggest comic purchase that you made that you now regret? This one will surprise you. And it's actually a book that I really love. And I actually show often and show, oh, I really love this book. And the reason I regret is it's sort of one of those things where I overpaid. And I think I could have gotten a better deal if I just negotiated a bit more for 2 reasons. There was 2 mistakes that I made. And it's why I have the regret. So I'll get into that. So this is the book, My Wonder Woman #1. So this was one of my earlier purchases in my collection from eBay. Back before I really understood my comic shop. So what happened was I saw this on eBay and I thought, oh, this is such a cool book. You know, and they wanted, I think it was like 24,000 or something insane. It was like really, really high. And I should have, I don't know what, I was very impulsive. I don't know why I was so impulsive. But I threw in a best offer. And I think it was like 18,000 best offer, which was still insane. Actually, I shouldn't have paid that much. And they accepted. But, you know, I sort of set up that I couldn't do it all at once. I actually put in the best offer, but I put a note in saying, hey, I don't want to do it all at once because I can't afford that. I wanted to do payments, and it was like 6 months or 8 months worth of payments. It was like a long time that I was making small payments towards, and they agreed. So I was like, oh, okay, great. Now I got to figure out how to make this work. So it took a while to get. But I realized that if I did a little bit more research, that one thing, I bought it through eBay. I should have bought it through my comic shop. That would have saved me 20% right there. 20% on 18,000 is almost $4,000. It's crazy. I could have saved that much money. So that's a lot of money that I would have saved. So that I always kick myself for that. And then the second thing is, had I did some research, more research, I would have known how much they paid. I think they paid just under 10,000 for this. So I really, I probably could have negotiated even more. Probably maybe got it down to like 13 or 12. So, and then bought it from my comic shop. So there would have been even a bigger discount. So probably I could have saved maybe about $5,000 if I had just did a little bit more investigating and a little bit less impulsiveness. And it just bothers me because $5,000 is a lot of money, and I could have bought something else with that money. I could have bought some other cool books. So it's one of those things that really bothers me, but I do love this book. And I actually think even at the price that I paid, it was still a good price. It was just, I wanted a better price. I wanted to save more money. So that's what kind of I kicked myself about that one. But I love this book. I mean, it's beautiful. It's a great book, but it's one of those things that kind of I regret. And not that I own the book, I regret that I wasn't a little bit more savvy at the time, and it was a mistake that I made. So next question comes from Robbie Josephs. Who do you think are the 5 best superheroes of the Golden Age? Well, this is almost kind of basic in a way. I feel like even like I have to be objective, and even subjectively I have to agree with my objective answer. The objective answer is the main ones that you think of. You think of Batman, you think of Green Lantern, you think of the Flash, you think of Superman, and Wonder Woman. Got to get one woman at least on the list. Now, other ones would be like Captain America, there's other characters, but the ones that I just said, Wonder Woman, Batman, Green Lantern, Flash, Superman, are the big 5 from the Golden Age. There's a lot of other characters, a lot of really great other characters. Another one that most people would think that I should say would be Shazam or Captain Marvel. But the reason I don't say him is he didn't have the longevity beyond the Golden Age. I mean, they brought him back in the Bronze Age, but, he was really not as popular as he was in the Golden Age. And these other characters have all maintained their popularity. Now, other characters that I could have mentioned maybe would be like Aquaman or somebody like that. But I think the 5 that I mentioned would be the biggest ones. So hopefully you guys agree. Tell me in the comments below. You can say, hey, you're out to lunch. These are the characters that are better. Okay, just tell me. AG wrote, what are your top 5 eBay wins or purchases? Okay, so I'm going to show you those. You'll actually be a little bit surprised, I think, by some of them. We're going to start out with this one. And this one's a recent purchase. I really liked it. This is an Eerie. And I got it for just a really great price. It was a great price. I think there was certain auctions that kind of didn't perform that well. And I sort of got it when things weren't performing that well. And this one I got for a steal. I got it for about half what the previous sale for the same book was. So I was happy. It's like, yeah, I got this. And it's a Ruben Blades, from the Ruben Blades collection. And this is Eerie #1. It's the first pre-code horror comic. It is cool. And it's a bondage cover, girl in the red dress, vampire. I love this book. This is a great book. So this is number 5 on my list. Next one is another one that I really, really like. This is a Miss America #2. And I got this for a steal as well. It's in reasonable condition. I wish it was graded, but it is in reasonable condition. But this is the first appearance of Patsy Walker, and I think it's actually, I'm not a big fan of photo covers, but I really like this photo cover. I think it's really cool. I just think her outfit's cool. I just think, the story behind her as a person, she was just some random girl that they picked. She was like 15 at the time or 14 at the time. And, people looked a lot older back then, I think. It's just, I think it's so cool. It's, I think I like the way her collar is. I just think it's so cool, this Captain and Miss America cover and cosplay cover. And just a really cool book. And it's the first appearance of Patsy Walker, a character that I like. So I like that one. So that was actually really affordable. Again, I think I got about half, but again, in that half range. This next one, again, was a little bit under the, like, I would say maybe 20-30% under what previous sales for the same book were. And this is my Superman #4. Now, I see this as not just a steal because I got it for under what the previous sales were. That's not the reason, actually, on this one. This one, actually, I see as having potential to grow. So, I'm a big fan of getting my first appearances. That's one of the things I like to collect. I like to get, I have the first appearance of this character. Well, one of the biggest characters, one of the biggest DC villains is Lex Luthor. He is definitely Superman's #1 villain. And this is, and there's no doubt in my mind when I say that, this is the first appearance of Lex Luthor. Now, a lot of people will say Action 23. No, it's not. Okay? It's this book. This book was out on the newsstands 2 weeks earlier, and it is the first appearance of Lex Luthor. In this book, I've read this book. It's all Lex Luthor stories too, so it's a really cool book because it has all Lex Luthor stories. So, and it's his first appearance. So, this one I'm actually planning to make a campaign and reach out to CGC and get them to change the notation on this, because right now it says second appearance, but really this is the first appearance of Lex Luthor. And I think the potential of that, once if the market ever switches and realizes, hey, this is the first appearance of Lex Luthor, this book will double or triple in value. So a cool book for those reasons. So I think it's a bit of a interesting one. Now the next one is one that I was super excited to get. This is, to me, one I didn't really expect to win. And it's a coverless copy. But this is such a major book. I don't mind getting it coverless. This is Triumph Adventure Comics #1 from 1941. And it's the first appearance of Nelvana of the Northern Lights. And she is the first female superhero created in Canada. And she's actually predates Wonder Woman. So really cool character. And this is such a rare book. There's like 4 known copies, something like that. It's like insanely rare. So originally the guy that had this was trying to sell it for $12,000. I was like, oh man, that's so cool. I'd love to buy it. But $12,000 is a lot of money for a coverless copy. And maybe he could actually have gotten that. I don't know. But I think he was getting impatient waiting for people to buy it. So what ended up happening was he put it up for auction. And he started with $1 bid. And the auction actually went very, very slowly, as they always do on eBay. I think it was sort of hovering at that $1,000 mark for the longest time. And then I knew that it was going to jump at the end. It always jumps at the end. Like the last 10 seconds, it goes up really crazily. So I put a bid in, knowing that it was originally trying to be sold at like $12,000. I put a bid in at $4,000, which was my attempt to say, okay, if I get it for $4,000, I'll be happy, because that'd be a steal, right? If I don't get it, at least I put in a good effort. That was kind of my attitude. However, I won it for $2,000. I was like, oh man, that's so exciting. So I got it for half what I was willing to pay for it. I think that was super exciting. And I was just, this is such a cool book for a Canadian. This is like one of the big grails. So I was super excited to have it in my collection. I'll show you the back as well. It's a great book. I wish she was on the first page. That would have been nice, because then it would have been her on the cover in a weird way. Okay, now this next one was a lot that I won on eBay. And I was like, wow, I can't believe I just won that. It was just such a great lot. I think I won it for $1,500. So it was a lot, 3 comics, and I got it for $1,500. Now, one of these comics goes for about 3 times that by itself, okay? And what happened was the guy had a whole bunch of sensation comics. I think it was a woman, actually. She was selling a collection of sensation comics ranging from, I think it was 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, or yeah, 6, 7, 8, then 9, 10, 11. So there was like 3 lots with 3 comics in it. And this was the one I won. I won 6, 7, 8. So 6 is the big one. It's the first appearance of Wonder Woman's lasso, and it's the first appearance of Kanga, and it's the first appearance of Jumpa. So a whole bunch of cool first appearances in this book. Really great book. It goes for a fortune, this one. It goes for big money. And the next one is a really nice one, number 7. Just another cool early sensation. And then we got one more, number 8. And I thought this was a great cover. So those are all the ones that I got. Next question comes from Toxic Pelican. What is the first appearance of the Infinity cover in comics? Do you have it? No, I do not have it. It was actually in Mickey Mouse Magazine, number 1 from 1931, I believe. It's actually the first printed copy comic with Mickey Mouse as well. Mickey Mouse and Daisy's on the cover. And they're basically on the cover, and they're on a seesaw. And in their hands, they are reading the same comic that they're in. So it's an Infinity cover. They're both reading it, which is kind of cool too. So they're on a seesaw reading the comic, and that's the first Infinity cover. Next question comes from Comic Book Ninja. Do you ever plan to upgrade your X-Men 0.5? That looks horrible. It looks horrible. Yes, I do plan to upgrade this, and actually probably now is the best time to do so. So yeah, I'd love to get a 1.0 or maybe like a 2, something that looks a little bit nicer. Yeah, so this is my X-Men 1. I plan to upgrade it. Okay, last question, and I gotta answer it a little bit quickly. It comes from Lyle. Did the Hays Code from the movies between 1930 and 1934 somewhat give Frederick Wortham an incentive to create similar codes for comics, and is there a watchdog of sorts for comics today, since the Comic Code Authority is pretty much defunct now? So right now there's no real comic code, but what you have is editorial code. That the different editors from the different publishers will have a certain standard. And that's really what happened in the Golden Age, that the editors would not allow certain things because they didn't want to offend people, right? So generally they self-regulated. And that's what you have now, that the editors will prevent certain things from being printed. But the Hays Code did play a major role in Wortham pushing for similar kind of thing for comics. I think it was kind of the inspiration for the Comic Code Authority. So that's it for this week. I hope you enjoyed this video. Thanks again for watching. And if you have a question you want answered for next week, please put it in the comments below. Bye for now.